Shut up and sit down.
Hello, Phantoms fans. Welcome to the Dump and Chase podcast. I'm Sam Olmstead.
And I'm Justin Irwin.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of the Dump and Chase podcast. We're calling this episode 3.5. I am here with my co-host and an extremely exhausted Justin. Are we awake? Do you have some coffee in you? How we doing?
I just polished the cup off, so I should be good to go for at least another 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll have the air horn at the ready to blow into the microphone if I need to, if I hear snoring. Yeah, this is a very quick turnaround for us, thanks to Chicago not doing their part to help us out. Not that I expected they would, but it would have been nice. Youngstown goes into the playoffs, has to play the first round. Games 1 and 2, Monday night, Tuesday night, potentially Wednesday night if it goes to a Game 3. But to kick this off, we're going to take a quick look at the previous weekend. Home and home with the U17s. The game on Friday, a 4-1 win for the Phantoms. Justin, you were up there again, up in Plymouth for that game. How did it look to you?
Pretty similar to what we've seen before. First two periods were pretty tight, a little bit chippy, settled down in the third, and we kind of took over from there, scored 3 goals and won that one. A lot easier of a drive home, no weather, so...
No, we got plenty of that tonight, though. So then everybody travels back down to Youngstown on Saturday, and shockingly enough, it was the under-17s that showed up, so we had that going for us right off the bat.
Yeah, well, we've seen strangers, so...
Yeah, normal is almost shocking in these situations right now, but Saturday, same result, a 4-1 win for the Phantoms to close out the season. Compared to how a lot of the other games have gone, penalty-wise, everything else, this game was actually a lot more tame than we've seen with Team USA as of late.
Yeah, I think both teams know that they're going into the playoffs and they don't really want to get involved in one of those type of games this late and have to play on Monday and waste a lot of energy, risk injury, suspension,
So what it boiled down to was Youngstown sitting in second. We needed Chicago to lose. One of their 2 final games, we needed them to lose. Did not happen. By virtue of Team USA not streaming their radio broadcast online, I was unable to listen to it, so I decided to listen to the Chicago game instead with Central Illinois. Central Illinois, through 2 periods, was actually hanging pretty well with Chicago. Had the lead at one point, went into the third period tied. Chicago scores 3 goals in about 1 minute and 40 seconds at the beginning of the third period. Now, all credit to Central Illinois, they were able to claw back. Final score is 6-5. They almost had a couple chances there towards the end of the game to get the tying goal, but alas, it did not happen. So then we look to Saturday and the game with Muskegon, and I can't remember the exact number. How many affiliates did Muskegon call up for that game?
5 or 6. I can't remember either, but it was a lot more than what you're usually calling up during the season.
Yeah, I mean, they have the number 1 seed locked up. They have the bye locked up. They weren't playing for anything this weekend, so bringing up affiliates, concession stand workers, parking lot attendants, whoever they could throw on the ice, it seemed like they did. Chicago did a little stat padding. Final score in that one, 8-1, so did not get any help there. End up in the number 3 seed. And as far as the final seedings for the Eastern Conference, of course, Muskegon in first, Chicago second. They both get the first round bye. Youngstown 3, Cedar Rapids 4, Team USA 5, and Dubuque 6. So taking a look at the first round in the Eastern Conference, first off we have the matchup Cedar Rapids and Team USA, the under-17s. These 2 teams played each other 3 times this season, Cedar Rapids winning all 3. Do you have any predictions on this series?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. I could care less. Let's move on. So, moving on to Youngstown and Dubuque. These teams have played each other 4 times this season, Youngstown winning the season series 3-1. Kind of the footnote to that, as these teams have not played each other since December 30th. Now, we'll take a look at, because with the first round, all 3 games, well, at least 2 games, potential third, will be played in Youngstown. Dubuque on the season finished 28, 26, 4-4 for 64 points. Their record on the road was only slightly better than home, so there wasn't much of a difference between their home and away record, 15, 12, 2-2 on the road. Youngstown finished the season 36, 21, 1-4 for 77 points. Their home record, slightly better than their away record. Home, they were 18, 9, 0-4. So right there, I would probably give a very slight edge to the Phantoms playing these games at Covelli Center.
Agreed.
Okay, so looking again at, like I said, with these guys not playing each other in so long, just kind of looking at the season stats overall, what I think is going to be the key to this series will be special teams. Comparing the two teams overall on the season, as far as the power play is concerned, Youngstown and Dubuque finished 3rd and 4th in the Eastern Conference in power play, only like 0.3% difference between the two. The penalty kill is a completely different story. Youngstown finishing 4th in the Eastern Conference penalty kill percentage, Dubuque finishing dead last in the Eastern Conference. So what do you see there as far as Youngstown's power play versus Dubuque's penalty kill?
The Phantoms, obviously, we have a lot of good scorers. With Dubuque, I think things will go pretty well depending on how Matthew Thiessen, their goaltender, plays. If we can get pucks on him, especially on the power play, then we will definitely have a huge advantage there.
Now, one more thing I want to bring up, shorthanded goals. The Phantoms this season, 12 shorthanded goals, Dubuque only 4. So to me, that's kind of where it tips it. I feel that Youngstown is a lot more dangerous on the power play, given Dubuque's lackluster penalty kill, but also at the same time, when Dubuque's on the power play, given Youngstown's more likeliness for shorthanded goals and just garnering offense while being shorthanded.
Yeah. I mean, we got guys who are two-way players, and especially I think Craig Needham has played pretty well on the penalty kill and has been a pretty decent threat shorthanded. And heck, even Brett Murray got a shorthanded goal last weekend, or the weekend before last. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can generate offense, not even scoring, but if you can get shots on goal while you're on the penalty kill, that goes a long way, and even doubly so coming in the playoffs.
Now, looking over the 4 games that Youngstown and Dubuque did play this season, it seemed like Dubuque really struggled with the 3M line. Brett Murray, Connor McEachran, and Jack Malone. Going through the stats real quick, Brett Murray against Dubuque this season, 2 goals, 5 assists. Connor McEachran, 3 goals, 2 assists. And Jack Malone, 2 goals and 2 assists. So at that point, and the 3M line was still a tiny bit in their infancy at that point, but they were able to have that much success against Dubuque. The way they're playing now, even better than they were playing back then, I really think that has to spell trouble for Dubuque.
Yeah. Dubuque, defensively, they have a lot of veteran players. They look good on paper, but we have put up some good numbers against them. So I think, especially with the 3M line being as dominant as they were going down the stretch, we definitely have a huge tactical advantage there.
Now, what would you say, like, we'll do like a little bit of a scouting report on Dubuque. What would you have to say about them?
They're big, second heaviest team in the league, first tallest. They've got some pretty good veteran defensemen. Surprisingly, though, their best offensive line, in my opinion, has been the Jackson twins, Ty and Dillon, and Reese Gaber. All 3 guys are what we would call smaller forwards. I think they average like 5'8", 151 pounds. Yeah, and that's probably soaking wet. But yeah, they fly out there, and maybe not us, but I've seen them cause other teams major fits. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, they've got some big guys on defense. J.D. Greenway is a guy really highly touted. He's kind of cleaned up his game, I think, going down the stretch in the season. He's been known to get into some penalty trouble earlier in his career. I think he's cleaned that up a little bit. Another guy they have, Willie Neerum. He is a great scorer, but he takes an atrocious amount of penalties. Their leading scorer, Mateus Michelli, He has become the highest scoring Finnish player ever to play in the league. I think what it will come down to is their goaltenders. Starting goaltender should be Matthew Thiessen. Decent goalie, but we've gotten some pucks by him. One more thing, one of their top scorers, James Sanchez, played 2 years for Team USA. He has been out with injury. Not really sure what that is. If he's not able to play in Youngstown, that's a huge break for us.
Now, as far on the injury front for Youngstown, I would say, Liam Dennison is the only one that's still really a question mark at this point, because Joey Abate was back this weekend.
Yeah, that kind of took me off guard, so saw him come out of the tunnel.
Yeah, we were looking at more of a playoff timeline for him coming back, so him coming back this weekend was big for us.
Yeah, I saw him come out of the tunnel up in Plymouth, and it was like, whoa! That was definitely a good sign there. I hope he's not pushing it too much, but I pretty much everybody at this point of the season probably is a little banged up, so.
Yeah, because I'm sure if you tell Joey Abate to slow down, he'll listen. So one last thing I kind of want to get into here is, I actually think our answers may be the same on this, as far as who you think the X factor for Youngstown will be in this series. I mean, obviously we have the 3M line. You have, you have Casaro, you have Holtz, Veltri, he's playing the way he's playing. To me, based on at least the play the last few weeks, I think the X factor in this series may very well be Ben Schoen.
Yeah. I mean, the kid has really stepped his game up. I think everybody is starting to notice that. Scoring consistently as a tender at this point of the season, that is a, major step up. And if he can continue that in the playoffs, that will really, really be a big lift for the team.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Wanted to try to keep it quick here. Hopefully we accomplished that. For this series, any final thoughts?
No, the only thing I think that we haven't mentioned that bears mentioning is neither of these teams has a goaltender on their roster that has any playoff experience. So that's kind of one of those things that you want to keep an eye on. Veltri has obviously been playing good. Stover's definitely been playing good on our end. So not a lot of worries there, but things change quickly in the playoffs. So one side or the other, you're going to probably see a goaltender steal a goal or two, and that'll be one of the big factors in the series.
For me, as far as this series is concerned, like you just said, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. I don't want to go as far as to venture a prediction for this series. To me, I think it's really going to depend on the first period to the first half of Game 1. You saw that last weekend with Youngstown. They came into that series with Sioux Falls and pretty much kind of came out flat for the most part. Maybe had a good 7 or 8 minutes beginning of that game, but for the most part, they were just flat, and I think that really buried them. So to me, for this series, if Youngstown comes out flat at the beginning, that might be something Dubuque could take advantage of. If they come out flying, if they're hitting on all cylinders, I don't think the series will go to 3 games.
No, and for what it's worth, Dubuque is already in town. They arrived sometime this morning. They've been practicing on Kent State's ice. They should be pretty well prepared. They played the same weekend schedule that we did, so I don't know how much bus legs will be a factor, but they've already been practicing in Ohio, so the Phantoms will definitely have to be ready to play from the moment the puck drops.
All right, and that's going to be it for us for this special episode of the Dump and Chase podcast, the playoff preview. Monday night, Tuesday night, 7:05 each night at the Cavelli Center. We hope to see everyone there. We know it's going to be tough with the short turnaround and kind of getting the word out there. We hope to see as many butts in those seats as possible, because let's face it, if you've never seen playoff hockey in your entire life, you're really missing out. So if you can get there, get there. And as always, check us out on social media. The links are in the description. If you want to leave a comment, good or bad, leave us a comment down below.
Agreed. I'm used to the criticism.
Thank you for listening, everybody, and we will talk to you soon.